Let's take a look at how the exercise is set up before we start creating some views. You'll notice that over in column A, they're actually tracking each item that they sell. It looks like they sell fruits and vegetables. You've got apples, peaches, pears, plums. You can see the list. Also, they're tracking their figures for January through March. They've got some figures over in quarter one where they've totaled up January, February, March. Then they've got April, May, June, quarter two, all the way across to the very end where they actually have some yearly totals here. If you look at this up and down, you'll notice that it looks like they've totaled the fruits on row 6, they totaled the vegetables on row 11, and then on 12 they have the total of all the produce, everything they've sold. We saw an exercise very similar to this in an earlier module when we did the outlining, but I want to show you now how to create what they call custom views. You'll notice if you're on the View tab that here's the Custom Views option. The first thing you want to do is make sure you create a view called Original, because if you have to go back to it, then you haven't lost everything. When you get into the Custom Views window, you'll notice on the right you have a button that says Add. And if you add, this is where you can name your view. I'm going to call this one Original. And you want to leave these checked. Go ahead and click OK. Now let's say that I'd like to have a view that only shows the fruits. What I'm going to do is select rows 7 through 12. And I'm just going to right click and hide those. I'm not going to delete them, okay? And now you can see just the fruits. If I'd like to pull this up at any time, I'm going to create a view called Fruits. I'll go back to Custom Views. I'll choose Add, and I'll name this one Fruits. And click OK. Now I'd like to flip back to the original so that I can show the vegetables. I'll click on Custom Views. And this time you'll notice that I have them both listed. I'll choose Original and click Show. This is why I created the original view, because I can now go back to the original one and hide all the fruits if I want. So you'll notice I hid rows 2 through 6 in this case. I'm going to right click and hide those. And I'll also right click and hide row 12. And now you can see that's just the veggies. I'll create a custom view. I'm going to add, and I'm going to call this one Veggies, and click OK. You get the idea. Now I'll go back to Custom Views, and you can see I have all 3 of those there. Let's say I show Original again, and now I see everything that I sell. I could even do this left to right. Now let's say we turned on the outlining feature, if you remember that from earlier. Let's say that I go back to the Data tab, and I go back over here to Group, and I turn on the Auto Outline. If you remember when we did this, we were able to hide or show certain levels. Let's say that from left to right, I want to show just my quarters. So you can see now that I've clicked the 2, I'm showing everything that I sell and just the figures for each quarter and the totals at the end of the year. Now I can save this as a view. I just go back to my View tab, Custom Views, and let's say this time when I add, I call it Quarters. Now when I click OK and then go back and show all the views again, I'll just go back and show the original. Here's the original. Now I'll go back into Custom Views, and this time I'm going to show Quarters, and you can see there you go. You could even create one where you hide the quarters and show just the yearly totals. There's just a zillion different ways you can use the custom views. Remember that once you turn the outlining on, you do have the ability to turn it off. Remember, go back to the Data tab, and you want to go over to the Ungroup option and choose Clear the Outline. That does not have anything to do with the views, it just cleared the outline. So if you want to go back to one of the views, you would just go back to your View tab and choose the view that you'd like to see. Notice over here that you can also delete a view. If for some reason you don't want it for whatever reason, just select it and choose Delete. When you close the file, all of this is saved with that file. That's really all there is to working with custom views.